Well, I keep trying to look for the spiritual kind of lesson in it.
Yeah.
And I think I said before, I was looking for like, well, my original thought as well. The universe doesn't want me to sell it just yet because the new place for me to move into isn't available yet.
Yeah, exactly. You're
But I
just not
think,
meant to do it right now, but you will be at some point in the near
don't know.
future.
Anyway, so yeah, so hopefully it's all by the end of September, it'll all be all off my hands.
Which kind of brings us to the subject of patience, doesn't it? That is
Yeah,
our subject matter this week. So,
yeah.
yeah. So, without further ado, I guess we should crack on with the questions. This is episode 13. I actually thought it was episode 12. So, I kind of put a tiny,
Lucky 13.
well, I want to say a quick welcome, sorry, before we keep jumping forward. But
Welcome, everybody. Welcome. So when life's not going
it is what it is. It is episode 13 of our Headfirst podcast, which is all about mental health. And this week we're talking about the art of patience in the creative industry. Where would you like to start, Andy? We do have questions.
I haven't got the questions. I haven't got the questions with me, but
you have. I've got them.
Go on then.
Yeah.
Ask me a question.
Number one. What does patience mean to you when life isn't going to plan? My phone. I still haven't worked out how to do this lock code on the tablet. What does patience mean to you when life isn't going to plan?
It could be as simple as, I'm running late to go out and the cat's just thrown up, so I have to clear that up. Makes me stressed. Or it could be something a bit more dramatic, like big family kind of issues, or work issues and that. But I suppose patience. I've kind of learned, or I'm learning, is just to try and remove myself from the situation. Just remove myself from it. Just get some calm, and depending on the situation, it can either be just like physically get away from my work computer, and just go and collapse on the bed for a quarter of an hour, just kind of time out. Or it could be like just get on the bike, pick the guitar up. But I found over the years, if I kind of just try and remove myself from situations which are stressing me, that seems to be the works out better for me, as opposed to trying to get everything done. And and on reflection, it kind of, when I'm in those dramatic situations, they once you'll kind of remove yourself from it, you tend to be kind of realize actually it's not as stressful and dramatic as you seem. Like if I'm at work and everybody wants things done, if I just remove myself, nothing's got worse, but I've got better, feeling more able to cope.
Yeah, so, I mean, that's your flat selling.
Yeah, I mean that's a
example.
I mean,
of how long you had to wait.
For people who don't know, I've probably mentioned it before. I've got a flat. I've got a flat in Aylesbury. I've been trying to sell for 3.5 years. I've had 4 buyers, and each of them have had to pull out. Some right at exchange, and some before that, because of the lease. It's a leasehold, and the ground rent issue in the lease is that the ground rent's reviewed too often. Anyway, so basically, it goes to a point where mortgage companies won't lend on it because it's too much of a risk. So I've had four lots of selling it. Everything's going there. I'm feeling good. I'm getting a good return on it, and then suddenly it all collapses. I have to pay a couple of thousand to a solicitor for the work they've done, and then start all over again. And that's happened like 4 times. So the first couple of times, it was just kind of like, yeah, okay, I can cope with this. I just need the right person. But then when it became more apparent that it was becoming unsellable, just started to get me down even more, It's
just like another whammy. I mean, it's just such
Yeah, I mean, I just so much resentment because it's a lovely flat. Everybody sort of looks around. It says it's beautiful. It's double aspect, end end of block. It's got really tall ceilings. Really nice area. Flat's great. It's just the the lease paperwork that goes with it. It's just that's such a big resentment when it became unsellable a few months ago. I was told it's unsellable because basically the ground rent was reviewed, which means it goes up. The review date is far too often, apparently, and I had a resentment against when I bought it because my solicitor at the time when I bought it didn't say anything about the ground rent being dodgy. So I had a resentment against them. I had a resentment against the landowner and just getting all this anger and that. But there's a good saying that resentment is when you're taking the poison that you want other people to take, but you're taking it expecting them to die, kind of thing. You're taking on all the kind of poison, hoping that it will affect the other person. It doesn't; it just affects you. And like we said just before we started this, it's kind of like I've had to now drop the price by £85,000 because the only way I can sell it is through an auction, which is just investors, cash buyers. They won't have any emotional attachment. They're not thinking, oh, this is a brilliant property. I want to live here, like a first-time buyer might. He just wants to think, well, I need to buy this as cheaply as possible, then I can rent it out for a maximum profit. So anyway, it's just been a real kind of. It's always been on my mind, stress-wise, various degrees, and my patience is always kind of like.
I mean, that was hardcore testing of patience, I'd say.
I mean, I remember I went around my mum's once. I'd been around my flat, and I thought there was something wrong with the wall because I have to go around there every week or two, check on the water and that. Sort of be there at weekends. I was living there at weekends. And I went around my mum's and I said about my mum was trying to be really helpful, but sort of telling me you don't want to drop the price anymore. And I just lost my rag with her. It wasn't her fault, but that's just the way that my patience just really kind of like at that moment.
Snap. Yeah.
And I took it out on my mum. It wasn't her fault. And that's probably I've probably done that a few times with a few different people.
You do to the people closest to you, don't you? So.
Yeah, I mean they kind of.
It's kind of forgivable.
Yeah, they just were people trying to help you, and you just kind of like just because you're so stressed about it, instead of reacting rationally, you react irrationally, and all the stuff you're keeping in, all the resentment, and that comes out. It's like a pressure cooker, and you get vicious with what you say and stuff. It's just been a massive kind of like. And it brings on all these other things. It's like, well, I'm 57. I should be thinking of retiring. I've got to get another mortgage, But it's just been a massive. It kind of, on the flip side, it does make you kind of appreciate. You have gratitude for stuff like, actually, I've got gratitude for my sister for letting me live at her place pretty much rent free. Especially going forward, because then I can save a bit more money. But gratitude to be able to like just go out on my bike and really appreciate that, because that's part of my de-stressing thing, and you really notice that kind of stuff.
I mean, I always find like just a good chat with a good friend always helps you out, doesn't it? When you're in a bit of a funk. I mean, it's just so many things we can moan about every single day, i.e. the government and just whatever else is going on, taxes. It's a whole plethora of things, right? Can moan about. And then sometimes I think about the age thing as well, but it's only because we've got all this archaic system which is still in place, which says you should retire by a certain age, whereas a lot of people are probably, outliving that term anyway. So when you're getting to a certain age, it's like if you're a late bloomer, for instance, you know what I mean? You're kind of just wanting to get going, and then the government says, no, you're going to be slapped with this, or actually you've got to slow down. And, really think about your age now, because you've got that pressure, because actually you're probably quite happy. Do you know what I mean? But saying you're like nearly 60, but actually so what? You know, you can still.
Yeah. I mean, it's just the whole kind of like, you know, I'm not going, you know, I can work as long as I like, you
Yeah,
know, but
exactly.
it's having the option. It's kind of like, you know, it's like,
Well, I
okay,
suppose again, it's an ageist society, so it is pretty much.
well, no, you've got the option. It's just like kind of like, you know, when you start getting older, you lose the energy of youth, and you kind of prioritize what really matters in life. It's kind of like you really discover what matters and what kind of like what's your soul food, and you
Yeah.
kind of think, oh, I really like to spend time doing that, you know. And
Well, I mean, do you feel pressurized then because the fact that you're getting a bit older?
I don't feel pressurized. I'm pressurized because I want I want to. I mean, I could, in theory, retire. I think 67, my retirement age. I could probably retire then and just try and get some kind of council accommodation if I wanted to. But I want to kind of like buy a nice place for me and the cat and somewhere where I want to live. And it's that kind of like, you know, I kind of, but now I kind of think, well, got to get a. It's just the whole hassle as well. Kind of, I've got to find somewhere else to live, and I want it to be the right place. I want it to be a safe place. Want it to be.
Yeah,
Don't
yeah.
want the kids. I don't
That's
want
what I mean. It's
the
like
kids.
everything's set up for people to do things at a certain age. Because if you don't, then it feels like you're stuffed, you know, or
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
paid into your pension
I
bottle.
can see what you mean. I don't think it's as bad as it was, like, you know, in the 60s and 70s and stuff. You know, where it's kind of like there's a lot more freedom now. With kind of like, oh, you don't, you know, especially women. You know, if you're not married by 30, you're kind of like, you know, you're stigmatized or whatever. It's kind of like quite a, you know, acknowledge you can do what you want. But it's just the whole, it's just the whole kind of patience with life about. I mean, it's been quite good the last 3 years, I suppose, and it's kind of taught me quite a lot in regards to finances, but also kind of like, you know, what I need to survive. You know, I don't, as opposed to, you know, I decluttered a lot of my flat. I've still got stuff there, but it's kind of like loads of stuff I chucked out, which I don't need. You obviously don't need, you know, because I don't miss it. I've got like kind of few things that I I like because it nourishes my soul and that. Yeah,
Yeah, it's nice. It's also very cathartic anyway, isn't it? Just having that clear out. I mean, there's still so much stuff
yeah,
to go through. I won't go too much into my living situation, but, you know, obviously, with so many moves and still one in the pipeline. You know,
yeah,
it's kind of like I've really got to exercise the patience because I'm always in this sort of not survival mode, but it's like that. I'm always just thinking like, what am I going to do next? Sort of, you know, where am I going to be? It is this
yeah,
unsettling. It's like discombobulating about that finality to something. So it's like I've been so used to it now. You know what I mean? It's just sort of well, might as well
yeah.
laugh at it
It's
now.
kind of, yeah.
That
The
level.
abnormal becomes normal.
Well, if I wasn't so, I guess, optimistic, generally, do you know what I mean? If I was real pessimist, I'd probably be
Yeah, yeah. You got to have the
swiftly going.
these kind of things shape your attitude either in a good direction or a downhill kind of direction. You know,
Yeah,
and especially social media and that telling you, you know, people telling you what great lives they have.
well, I don't
Um,
really pay too much attention to all that because you know that it's all a facade
yeah,
time, you know, or it's a mask or whatever. But I mean, the reality, yeah, when you get out of the matrix, you know, and you look at your life, it's kind of what do you get back to? You're 0 point, you know, that's how it feels. It's like always, you can make a good decision about your own life, actually. Like, don't let other people make your decisions for you, basically. Just coming back to the questions, it says, what happens to you creatively when life becomes overwhelming? I just thought that's a really good question because, you know, obviously all of this stress, everything we've been through in the last few years, I'd say, while we're trying to be musicians, has been overwhelming. Right.
Yeah, it just kind of. I think one is on a few
One
levels. It's kind of
last month.
like the stress, kind of like the stress of it all, just kind of knackers you out, and it's
Yeah.
kind of like, and you got the stress of everything that's happened in the last 3 years just knackered me out, and then, I've got to do a day job, and then I finish my day job, and then it's kind of like, oh, I should be recording a song, or I've got to go around and see someone, or I should be, or even like basic things. Oh, I've got to go to Tesco's, you know, and it just kind of, that just pounds your energy, Um, and it kind of like, I suppose conversely, it kind of like, so because of that, I kind of haven't been playing as much guitar as I have done, or writing as many songs as I have done. But I think what happens is as well, because you get kind of fresh, because sometimes you'll come out of the gloom of it, and you'll just have a good day, Sunday or something, have a good day. And it's like, right, I'm gonna, for one reason or another, there's no
Right.
plans. It's great. I go off and have a coffee, come back. Well, I pick the guitar up and start writing some stuff.
Yeah.
And whereas before it'd be like, I'd probably pick the guitar up every day and be trying to write stuff, which I really enjoy, but it'd be like, uh, it'll be more of a job than a novelty kind of thing. And then when you just pick it up willy nilly, and that's when kind of the magic happens, and you start playing something, and it's, oh, just like something comes out of the air,
Yeah.
and that kind of gives you that lift. I mean, the creativity does suffer for me. For me, it just suffers in my energy, lack of energy for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
It never really goes away, I suppose. If you can do a little bit and tinker around with whatever it is, it makes you feel like you're being creative, then that's also being creative, isn't it?
yeah, I think it's like, I think it's kind of like with anything as well, though. It's kind of like, it's more of the kind of like being daunted by it. It's like, oh, got to go to band practice tonight. I'd rather just stay in and just wallop on. But as soon as you get to band practice, it's like you really enjoy it. And it's that
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, I really should go for a bike ride. Or I know it made me feel better. It's like, oh, I can't be asked. But as soon as I get on the bike,
I
an
mean, I
hour
think,
later, an hour later, I feel great,
yeah, like we were all falling asleep on the last rehearsal because
And
obviously
it's
by
kind
the end
of,
of that evening we were absolutely spent because, we were looking at Phil and he's literally like this on the drums.
yeah, I think we had a few things
Drums are
against us then, though,
like
didn't we?
dripping with sweat. I mean, that was a hot, again, it's summer.
It was hot, it's claustrophobic.
Hopefully we'll, yeah, just
It
do
was like
some
the smallest
autumnal.
rehearsal room there, and the DJ's next door rehearsing.
Yeah.
Um, 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 you know. What about
Yeah.
you? How's it kind of affect you?
I can't remember what the question was.
It was,
Oh, the overwhelm.
how does kind of lack of patience affect your kind of creativity?
Yeah, well, I cry sometimes, and that helps. Just having a good cry. It actually
Yeah,
feels really
yeah,
cathartic. And actually, when I did a tune the other night, I sat like you've got to force yourself a bit. I sat down, but then, with Sammy's passing anniversary being quite recent, it's like maybe I'm just constantly doing things to just cover up the grief or cover up, the annoyances and whatever. But as soon as I get into music, yeah, it makes me feel 100% better. But the result of that is a lot of catharsis, I think, because I start crying when I think about her, for instance, her
mm,
not being here to enjoy it, her talking to me going, come on, you can do it, all these things, and so yeah, grief weirdly plays a big part in creating the music, but I think that's just all part of this whole songwriting journey, right?
yeah, yeah,
What else would
yeah.
I
It's
do?
all all emotions based, isn't it? It's kind of like,
Yeah,
um,
it just helps you get through it.
yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's that kind of, it all comes out right, whether it's crying or singing or playing a guitar or,
Yeah, and actually, so then the last time I did the track, it was like I did it without crying. It was kind of like I can do this.
mm,
Got it down. So
yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't work as that purging. You've got to have the purge, feel better, take some deep breaths. It's okay. You just get back on the saddle, right?
Mm,
If you do that with most things in life, because obviously you can't. You can't be sitting in your office, probably, telling your boss how emotionally you're feeling, or, go to to the toilet. And I mean, back in your old days, you obviously used to have a bit of a drink when you were sad or whatever. But
yeah. It obviously makes you
without
again. And it's like with all of this, it's finding. I used alcohol to change the way I felt, so I wanted to either feel better or not feel how I felt. If I hated myself, I didn't want to feel that. So the whole thing now, we're kind of like, I suppose with me with the flat thing, it's kind of I want to change the way I feel, but in a positive way. So I don't want to have all this resentment and hate.
Yeah.
But it's a kind of natural thing to feel, but it's kind of like going beyond that.
Yeah.
It's going beyond that. It's kind of like I can sit in resentment and hate.
Yeah.
And like I said a minute ago, I can have all this resentment and hate against this company or this landowner. They're not going to feel that. It's me that's feeling all this pain. They're not going to feel any of the pain, so I can either kind of like just sit with it, which is almost like the easier option, just to wallow in it, because you don't have to make an effort then. Or you can just make a bit of an effort to just kind of change the way you feel by physical things like music or cycling or meditation or qigong or whatever, which in turn will then give you enough power for a mental change. Kind of like thinking, actually, it's a shit situation, but there's no way to avoid it. I've just got to go through it, learn from it, go to the other side.
Yeah.
And then you feel a bit of kind of like relief, feel a bit of relief, feel a bit lighter, and suddenly the world doesn't seem that dark, and you change your perspective, you change the way you felt a bit. That kind of hate and resentment, it's still going to be there a little bit, but it's going to actually more kind of like, okay, yeah, I fucking hate them.
It's less a degree of it, yeah.
But it's now, okay, I've just got to kind of just move forward now. Instead of just focusing on the hate and that, it's kind of like use that as a kind of springboard to move forward. Because now it's like, I'm going to move forward, going to get rid of it, making a big loss, but now I know going forward that not to get in that situation again with leases or whatever.
Well, yeah, exactly. Massive lesson learned. But also it is that sort of that release, isn't it? Because now you've...
Yeah, I mean, there's some people that can't...
It's that feeling moving forward.
Yeah, because there's some people that can't. I've had... Speaking to estate agents and my estate agent about this and that over the last 3 years, there's some people that can't do what I'm doing, even because their mortgage is more than how much the value of the property is. So they can't sell the property because they still have a bit of a mortgage to pay.
Yeah.
They could sell their flat for 110 grand, but they've got 150 grand mortgage outstanding. So they can't, and they're stuck where they are.
Debt, yeah.
That I've got the freedom. That's the way I look at it. I've got the freedom that I've actually got a choice about it, which is to cut it loose at a loss.
Mm-hmm.
But then I've got the choice then to do that, because I can then have the choice to move forward.
Yeah, exactly. I was chatting to a friend yesterday. Actually, she's retired now. But she's been through the mills. She had cancer, beat it. It was bladder cancer. Thank God, it didn't ravage her body. And now, she's nearly 70, and she started doing qigong, and you know what I mean. So I was saying that you really enjoy that as well. How beneficial it is to the body. She's got 2 more checkups, I think. But yeah, so far, touch wood, she's good.
It is amazing. Qigong. I've been doing it for a year now.
So
and it is. It's just amazing. It's just kind of even that. It's kind of like some mornings I'm like knackered. It's like I have to I try and do it before work.
Yeah.
And I'm drag myself just to stand up is like an effort. But as soon as I do it,
I was just so proud of her because she said she was doing it every single morning. I mean, that for me would just honestly anything first thing in the morning. I'm just
no, it's great.
I have to be forced to do it if I had to do it, but it's a struggle to get out of bed generally. Maybe it's the age thing, I don't know, but
but no, it's great. I recommend it.
Have you ever been through a period in your life where you stopped creating altogether?
Probably, yeah. There's probably been times.
I can't imagine it. Yeah.
Trying to think. There's probably been times where I've just kind of, not for long periods of time, I probably just thought, for some reason, it's just, I just need to go away from it. It hasn't really, it hasn't really happened in the kind of like total stopping. I've usually thought, right, I'm going to stop playing guitar and I'm going to do photography. And then a couple of months later, right, I'm going to stop doing photography, do music. I'm quite all or nothing. I find it very difficult to spread myself evenly between my sort of passions, you know. So that's probably the closest I've got to it.
So you gave up your photography then for a while, you say, more than music?
Yeah, I kind of like, yeah, it's predominantly been music the last couple of years. I'm off, me and Ian are off on Friday because we're going up to London with our cameras. And it's kind of, I still take photographs, but not that often. Not as like before I would advertise for people to take, models, take photographs or could just go up to London on my own and do some street photography or something. And I kind of like, I just don't do it. But I kind of like, I don't.
Well, it's finding the time, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't really miss it. It was kind of like a phase, probably about 2018, 2019, especially in a couple of years beyond that, but not so much. I'd advertise on Gumtree for a over 18 model to do like street portraits. So I'd meet them in Shoreditch or somewhere, and we'd just go around, look at the urban backgrounds, and I was really into that. And but it's kind of, you can't force it. I could try and do it now, but I probably wouldn't have the enthusiasm I had back then. I still like taking pictures, but it's just the kind of like you say, it's the time. It's kind of like, but I'm kind of more into playing the guitar at the moment, doing music. So again, it's hard to divert passion to the camera to do on the level I did it a few years ago. But I don't think I've ever strayed completely from creativity. It's always, I might have just had a week off. I think, fuck this, I'm not doing anything. And then because you're not doing it every day, suddenly it's a bit more of a novelty experience picking up a guitar again and just kind of thinking, just take the guitar with me while I go to the toilet. And you're there for 20 minutes, sat on the toilet playing. And you think, it's quite good. And then so you put the guitar down, and I think, I'll come back to that later. And then you're back in the cycle of it.
And then the antidote to your big lull of creativity is stumbling across a guitar store when you're actually on your way to get a coffee.
Yeah.
Buy a couple of guitars.
Yeah. I'm not as bad as my brother. He's like, he flies through buying guitars because it's so easy to
easily done.
buy. It's so easy just to exchange guitar these days, so you don't have to really spend any more money. So you either do that privately, Gumtree or Facebook Marketplace, or try and swap. Or a lot of guitar shops will buy your guitar, or do a trade. So it's easier to do it. I mean, it does kind of inspire you. It does kind of inspire you.
That little phase of it. Yeah. Sorry. There's a bit of a latency here, isn't there?
A little bit of a what, sorry? Latency?
Yeah, on the... Never mind. It's okay.
What, delay?
Yeah. When we happy... I can hear you. It's cool.
Oh, right, okay. Am I like a Chinese movie where my mouth's moving after I say something?
Like when I'm saying something, you're like waiting a couple of minutes for the response.
Yeah. But literally getting a new guitar sometimes kickstarts you.
Yeah, the feeling. I've never been a proper guitar player, obviously, but I remember that slide guitar I bought when I was living down.
Oh, yeah.
And I was, the dopamine hit. I was like, right, this is it. Gonna kind of become a slide guitarist. Just on the side. and never really materialised, did it? But it was nice to have it for a while.
Oh, I'll give you a bit of a hit of excitement.
Yeah, never say never, because obviously I will pick. It's probably too late for me to actually become some sort of virtuoso, but I could have a crack at just
Yeah, it's never too.
playing it along with the band, doing something.
Yeah, it's never too late.
Do you know what I mean?
Never too late to learn.
Anyway, we'll see how it goes with that one. How do you deal with the guilt of not creating?
You can answer that first, if you like.
The guilt, yeah. I mean, the guilt when I've left a tune for weeks, and I know, because I suppose we were trying to work on Chameleon, for instance. Maybe we both unconsciously did that thing where you kind of like don't work on something for ages and then you don't remind each other of it. So I was kind of thinking, I'm glad Andy hasn't reminded me of this because I know I need to finish it. Do you know what I mean? Because I was thinking, yeah, we definitely. Did you send all those files? Do you know what I mean? I think together we've got that weird. It's good. It's a good symbiosis. We know exactly when to, because I reminded you then. Have we actually done the full arrangement for the final
Chameleon?
Structure. And then it finally materialised, didn't it? Like we got the structure, we've got the verse chorus down, and now it's like it's almost complete. You know what I mean?
It's
thing. That's where I feel guilty, because if there's weeks of procrastination, we haven't spoken properly. I mean, a whole month. This is why I'm thinking a lot about time and how much time we do actually need to write music or just be creative in your own zone, in your own space, in your headspace, because you can't always then switch off and do that thing because you're still, like for me, obviously recovering from, say, looking after Zach, or it's needing that energy, our own little bubble where no one interferes, and
and plus you can't turn it on like a tap. You find yourself with quiet and a guitar or a microphone or whatever. It doesn't mean it's going to be there. The creativity,
No, exactly.
Turn it on like a tap. Yeah.
So there's just a little bit of guilt around that, but I mean, I'm trying to just be kind to myself now and just stop being. I know it's all a bit cliche now, but it's this just the self-love, because the song is, again, it's catharsis. It's helping me get through the day. And then looking back and saying, oh yeah, finish that, job done, take off, So not be to berate myself for having left it for weeks. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, so the next question is, how do you accept that sometimes survival has to come from before creativity? Yeah, exactly that. The survival has to come before creativity, because you've just got to eat, feed people.
It's just doing basic stuff like keeping your environment clean and positive.
Look after yourself, shower. There's all these things. There's like a massive list of things to do every single day just to survive, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're fortunate enough to just be able to have that multi-dexterous, for want of a better phrase, way of being.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just
you have to congratulate yourself, if you haven't got that, but you're still doing it, Yeah. Do you accept it though? Because it says, how do you accept that sometimes survival has to come?
Well, I think I've been in situations where I've been kind of like, I know I've got to finish off a recording or something for us or whatever, but I've got other stuff to do, and I know if I put trying to get the song or whatever finished, it just doesn't work. It'll be substandard. So I kind of like just get everything done first, and then I know I've now got a clear space. I might be running late, but I've now got a clear space to do whatever I need to do. But it can get stressful. It's that kind of like, because things crop up. I'll do that tonight. I'll do that recording I promised tonight, and then suddenly there's a family matter you need to attend to, or you got to work late, or something crops up, and that's the way it is. Things have to be delayed sometimes.
I think they do. I mean, it's just like simple things annoy me. Like I literally can't find I bought two pairs of glasses about a couple of months ago, I suppose.
Sunglasses or glasses?
Actual prescription glasses that I need. I mean, I'm not blind, obviously, but I'm short-sighted, right? I do need them to watch telly and stuff. Not that we watch telly, but a lot. And I just lost. They've just disappeared. I have no idea. It's just how my life's been. It's just the chaos around
both pairs.
Object placement, both pairs. I've got a spare pair somewhere. Do you know what I mean? But it's just annoying because it's like, how the hell would I lose two pairs? Not just one, two. So now I've got to go on a hunt for it. You know what I mean? It's just all that shit really does my head in. Because then I've got to spend time doing that thing. It's like when I should be doing something else. Yeah. Now I've got to look for my glasses.
Check Zach's toy box.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. So that's been my life lately. Have you ever had to put your dreams on hold because of money, family, relationships, work, or responsibilities? How did you deal with that?
Yeah.
Very well.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, and I've been thinking about this a lot actually recently because, as a side conversation, my very first proper guitar I bought was a Fender Stratocaster in '88, and I had a really good sort of cheap guitar as well. But this is my first proper expensive guitar. I bought that and I had it for about 5 years, and I sold it. And I sold it to a mate, and I'm still in contact with him. He lives up north now. And I contacted him the other week, and I said, I've been getting back into the Stratocasters recently. Don't suppose you want to sell that one back to me that I sold to you? And he sort of said, well, I gave it to my niece. I'll have a word with her. And I think it's just collecting dust, and you can give a donation to a charity that's affected his family, kind of thing. But I haven't heard anything from him. But I've been thinking about that, and it reminded me of kind of like I was really into music, and then I was in a really good covers band, and but then I got into my first serious relationship, and that just kind of just fucked me up, basically. It kind of like, it's not her fault at all, but I kind of like, she was quite intense and wanted to see me every day, and it just didn't realise at the time just exactly how free-spirited and that, and it just kind of like, it just like suffocated me, and it kind of stopped me doing the music a lot, and I still did the band, but not kind of with full enthusiasm. So that always, as a kind of like being forced away from creativity, that again, not through her fault, I let the relationship flow the way it did. And hindsight's a wonderful thing and everything, but it just kind of like, it just kind of it kind of changed my whole life of being about music, really, and then making it completely secondary in a kind of and not completely me wanting it to be, if you know what I mean. Found myself in this situation. I was young, naive. I didn't know how to navigate life, let alone relationships. And I just kind of went along with this thing. And then that kind of, I shouldn't think sliding doors moments or anything, but if I hadn't got involved with her, kind of like, where would I be now with music, kind of thing? Because it kind of like, it stopped me. I don't know if it said it stopped me, but I didn't start writing songs. I'd written a couple of songs before that. I was mainly this covers band I was in, which I really enjoyed, like indie covers band. But then I started writing songs properly about another 10 years, I suppose. We did. I mean, the covers band morphed into an originals band, kind of briefly. We wrote a few songs there, but actually, that was as a band thing, jamming and stuff. But me just sort of just sitting alone in a bedroom with a guitar, right? It took about another 10 years for me to do that, till I was about 30, probably writing proper songs, And you just kind of think, well, that 10-year gap, this is just me surmising, that 10-year gap, if that relationship hadn't happened, would I have,
Yeah. No, I think that, because obviously you just think, have the glory days gone? We could have done a lot more at that tender age of 20, whatever, you know what I mean? Had it not, I don't know, we were just supposed to have all these experiences. So that's why it's taken us a bit longer, and that's all. It just feels
I mean, I look
point, is there, looking back and regret? Because otherwise,
I mean, I kind of now look spiritually at it, like soul. Now I know about soul contracts and all that kind of stuff, and it's like, it's meant to be, if you believe it like that. It's meant to be. To have this relationship come into my life, and it taught me a hell of a lot.
And at least it hasn't totally stopped us getting creative.
And it kind of like, so, but I do kind of like wonder, because I kind of went from one extreme to the other, where it's like music, and to I was just navigating this relationship, and it was just, my head was too fucking all over the place to really concentrate on the music still, But it's what I mean. It taught. I don't kind of regret the relationship. It taught me a lot. Mainly what I don't want, not just with relationships, but kind of in life and stuff like that. But I do remember actually talking about one of the last questions. In being in that relationship, it did kind of make me, I didn't stop being creative, but I certainly went from 100 to about 10 miles an hour, and that probably didn't help the way I was feeling in that relationship as well. Probably didn't help the way I kind of navigated it and started relying on alcohol really to get through life. And not having that creativity there to rely to use. I wasn't into cycling, anything like that.
All your other passions came later on then.
I mean, I was just kind of like, so I didn't have anything. If you take me, my body as a vessel, I had a little bit of guitaring and music to fill it up to my knees with positivity, maybe. And then the rest just got filled up with anxiety and fear and alcohol, Whereas with all the other stuff that comes in now, I feel my stuff, and it only fills you up on a daily basis. Like, you have to keep, I can fill yourself with positivity today, but that drains out, and you have to keep refilling yourself by doing all the good stuff.
Isn't it now? Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't mind getting that guitar back, to be honest with you. Got a lot of sentimental value, really. Kind of like a lot of my first proper gigs, proper songwriting was done on it. Yeah.
Well, it's meant to be. You'll get it back.
Yeah.
How do you tell the difference between needing a genuine break and avoiding the work because you're scared? That's a good one. How do you tell the difference between needing a genuine break and avoiding the work because you're scared? So loaded. Isn't it? If you need a genuine break, you'll know about it.
Yeah.
Avoiding.
I think it depends how you deal with stress as well. Like, some people just kind of become workaholics and just dive into the creativity and just kind of to keep them busy and saturate and stuff. Where others kind of like just use avoidance,
It's a strange, I don't know, it's like a sort of, what do you call it, like an oxymoron, because it just feels, well, no, you can't avoid it, but you've got to kind of, you might want to avoid it, because it's bringing you that stress. But actually, if you don't avoid it, you might get something done that actually you can think, yeah, I've just achieved that. So
yeah, I think it just depends what kind of headspace you're in, really.
Exactly.
It's usually things like, for me anyway,
break from it.
The avoidance is kind of like just to do with stress levels and maybe relationships, that kind of stuff. That just kind of although the big distractions in life that can take you away from being able to do stuff properly.
Yeah, exactly. There's quite a few questions here.
Blimey. What
do you do when your mind wants to create, but emotionally you've nothing left to give? We just spoke about that literally, didn't we? So skip that. yeah, when you've got nothing left to give, you kind of just don't do it, do you? You avoid it.
Be previous, yeah.
Let's cut that one down then. Number 9. What difficult periods in life eventually become part of your art, even when you couldn't create while you were living through them? Well, again, we've covered a lot of that, haven't we?
Yeah, just kind of life experience. Yeah.
Kids.
Yeah.
How do you stay connected to yourself as an artist when you haven't made anything for months? Luckily, we're on a bit of a roll, aren't we? So.
Yeah, well, I tend to have like I keep all the stuff I record, or we record as well. Any stuff that I record, I've got a kind of like an Outlook folder I put it in, and I tend to always have one particularly good, probably more of a recent one, on my phone in one of my files, so I can just play it. So I have that. I tend to kind of like listen to that kind of a song that I'm really kind of proud of. Though I still have that imposter syndrome. I still think, God, that's a bit of a fluke, wouldn't it, making that one sound so good? Never do that again. I tend to just remind myself of stuff, or kind of. Sometimes I'll see a guitarist, maybe just a local band or whatever, and think, oh, I may as well just give up because they're so much better than me. And then I come home and play guitar, and I can think, actually, I'm all right.
Yeah.
Well,
that's the thing, isn't it? We mustn't ever compare what we do to others, because they could have been at a completely different part of their life, having the time to put all of their devotion into what they're doing, hence becoming a master at it. I mean, that's just natural to feel that, isn't it? Comparing yourself to people who are super talented, and you're always
I mean, we do that in every walk of life, don't we? Compare how we look against other people, how some people compare how much money they earn, some people can compare how healthy they are at their age compared to someone else, or other people's lives are compared to theirs.
So I just think, because like you said it earlier, gratitude, just be grateful for what you've got. And
I was with a friend yesterday for coffee, and they're like physically a wreck at the moment. They're only a year older than me, and they're kind of fucked. Their body's just kind of wear and tear, and they've had a few kind of accidents over the years, which has affected stuff. And they're kind of they can't lift their arm above here. They've got shoulder issues, and and it's not something that can be sorted out with a chiropractor. It's kind of like operations kind of thing. There's a few people I know are kind of just kind of their bodies are getting a bit fucked, and I kind of like, touch wood, I'm kind of I've got my aches and pains, but I'm in fairly good nick. I mean, but I put that down to like qigong and things like that.
Keep fit, don't you?
Yeah. Cycling, don't drink anymore. Haven't smoked since
I can't attest to that anymore.
2010. I eat fairly healthily. So it's that kind of like, so I've got that. That's the gratitude I've got,
It's all relative, yeah. But I don't know. There are certain constitutions, obviously, that are more robust. So, some people do seem to just. I mean, I think we said this before, didn't we? Look at the Stones. I mean,
kind of genetics.
I imagine they've got some sort of vegan diet going on, or.
Well, the thing like with the Stones and that, they have their own private physicians who pump them full of vitamin shots and stuff.
Maybe.
Their own caterers and that, their own private masseurs and that.
Yeah.
Not like us lowly people who have to do everything ourselves.
Everything just becomes a struggle.
Yeah. So I've got gratitude for that, and that's that kind of reverse comparison, isn't it? It's that kind of like, actually, compared to them, I'm doing all right,
Yeah. Well, we just covered that in that question. How do you deal with seeing other people creating, releasing music and moving forward while you feel stuck? Yeah, I mean, feeling stuckness is a thing, isn't it? Because it's like we could have just finished that EP last year. I think we spoke about that. And the other thing is, obviously, and me and Phil, for instance, and he's such an inspiration, right? Because he's doing, 3 jobs.
So, it's very full of positivity, isn't it?
No, I just mean like looking at someone else's life like that.
Yeah.
Now he's in our band, which is cool, but we're all still managing to hold it together. It's not like we've got pressures to sort of, if we were actually a signed band, we'd have to have those different pressures. But right now, it's just, getting to know this phase of, this is actually really cool that the music we're putting together sounds good together. But we don't feel stuck because, we've got some sort of benchmark to, adhere to. I don't know. I mean, I know as a band, I think he mentioned that actually, Phil, didn't he, that we should be having all the channels like, YouTube, the Instagram, Facebook, the TikTok. We literally got, I mean, again, we've done things at a snail's pace manner. But, I can only deal with one thing at a time.
But I kind of like creativity-wise, I'm into the music. All the social media stuff doesn't really interest me as much.
Yeah, I can only just about cope with Insta, like I say.
If you know what I mean, it's that kind of like, I'll make a TikTok.
Yeah, but as a band, we should be doing this, and this, and this.
I just want to write music and record and play.
I know. It's like, I just accept what we're doing. But again, I think it's not like we're thinking that way, is it? We're still not really sitting down going, right, we've got to do 5 TikToks for this weekend. And, everything is organic. Everything seems to be very, very organic. Like it will just happen like that. Oh, right, yeah, we've got to do this reel. Put that there. And, for our podcast, we now know it's episode 13. And that's going to go on a little picture. And, simple things like that actually seem quite enormous to do sometimes. Especially for someone with
yeah. Especially if you had a busy day and other things to do,
Yeah, exactly. So don't feel bad, I'd say, if you haven't achieved every single thing on a list. You just got to keep scrubbing the things out on the list.
Progress, not perfection.
Exactly. And count your blessings, I'd say. That you can even achieve one thing on that list. Right. Has life ever forced you to become a different kind of artist than the one you thought you were going to be? Interesting. Yeah. I mean, do you want to go first with that?
I've just got to quickly let the cat in. Hold on. You mean kind of like...
Has life ever forced you to become a different kind of artist?
So you compromised your art, basically.
I guess the person you thought you were going to be with the creative stuff that you might have been doing, in your 20s as we've progressed.
Yeah.
Has life ever forced you to become a different kind of artist than the one you thought you were going to be?
Well, there's that kind of...
What did you think you were going to be, firstly?
Well, I mean, there's that naivety in my late teens, that naivety... late teens, early 20s, where I'm just going to write music, not really put in loads of effort, and then a record company's going to knock on my door one day and say, we want to take you on, please. So obviously, it's completely naive. But I suppose compromising it or changing it, I mean, I suppose life makes you do that. Going back to the relationship in my very early 20s that took me through my 20s, really, that made me compromise music because she wanted me to obviously wanting to concentrate more on a relationship, and she was very much into relationship stuff. So I had to, I didn't have enough time basically to do the music, and I kind of disconnected from, because of that, I kind of, unfortunately, and I'm the only one to blame for this, I kind of disconnected from the people I were involved with in music at the time. We not totally, but enough that we stopped doing a band together, and and they went off doing other bands with other people. And I mean, I did little bits with people like my brother and that, but yeah, it kind of made me change the relationship and having to live life and having a mortgage and having to like devote energy to someone.
Yeah.
That kind of like, made me compromise what I was doing before that, immediately before that, because I had time to do just music as much as I wanted to.
Yeah.
And then kind of like, but I don't think apart from that, I think then I kind of had a new lease of life when I kind of split up from her. And then I just started weeding my way back into music, and then coincidentally, the people that I was in the band with when I went into that relationship, we've reformed, and a much better version. We kind of like we're writing our own stuff, and we're a bit more mature with our writing, and it sounded like proper songs.
Mm.
And I suppose I suppose just for me anyway. Generally, life is just compromised. I mean, because then I went into, a couple of years later, I went to another serious relationship with a woman who became my wife, but that was completely different. She's very kind of like, do as much music as you like. We weren't kind of like tied at the waist kind of thing, and she was very supportive, and she came to the gigs, and she kind of like let me go off and do rehearsals when I wanted to, and go upstairs and write stuff when I wanted to, and that conversely had an effect on the music as well, because it was kind of I was more relaxed and happier because I was in a happy relationship and she was letting me do this. So more stuff was happening. Stuff was happening out of love as opposed to fear, I suppose.
Yeah.
And then I mean, I suppose the only other way is like later on, that band split up and I joined someone else's band, and then I suppose it was, even though I had quite a lot of creativity, it was his songs, so I had to kind of adhere to his kind of template of writing stuff. I couldn't just go free for all.
Yeah. We're lucky like that, I guess. We've kind of pretty much agreed on most things, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, it is a kind of like, it's a democracy, but it's stuff like, when we came across that producer years ago and he was saying, no, you want that chorus should come in the first 30 seconds, not over a minute like you've done it. And it's like, well, forget it. We're not doing that would be a proper ugly compromise, a desperate bit of desperation. So I'm glad we didn't do that.
I think we bring this into every episode, don't we?
Yeah.
God, that really got to us. And if it ever happened again,
it was good though. It was good because I mean, but it's just opinions like that producer we approached. Was it last year or the year before for Cycles? Yeah, that really good demo of Cycles we did at yours, and we gave it to him, and he suggested a couple of things, and I think it was purely because I mean I didn't really think much needed doing to it, and I think he just thought he better suggest some stuff, because a lot of what he suggested I didn't really agree with. They weren't really bad suggestions, but it was like, I can see what you mean, but I don't think that's going to improve it. It's just people's opinions,
Yeah. No, I mean, that's fine, it's just a little experiment anyway to see, I suppose, to sort of test the waters, see who's out there digging what we're doing. But again, if they're not charging like 1,500 quid for a track, that's a bonus. But we're still waiting, having to be patient because
but I still think we could do it ourselves, but that's a different conversation.
I mean, yeah, it's just all equipment, isn't it? I've got this ancient Mac, one song at a time job. I mean, just everything takes.
So I remember me and a couple of mates. We did about 2010. We did a Dove's fan club. We're having wanting people to cover Dove's tracks. And we did one. I did it all on my Logic. I had my old iMac, had Logic on it. So did it all on there. And then all we did, we took it to the local engineer at the rehearsal studio we went to, a guy called Steve, and we gave it to him, and he just kind of, I think, just kind of panned things properly, bit of EQ, gave us back, and we just sent it off for mastering. And that was it. I think it was like an afternoon he had it.
Yeah.
Wasn't.
No, of course. I mean,
at all.
And that's the thing. I do get very sensitive when people criticise, because that's happened in the past, and someone mentioning, oh, don't put out half-assed stuff, and it's kind of like, okay, but then also,
but then what do they class as half-assed?
Well, unfinished, whatever, or just not quite there. Yeah, in the book of perfection, But it's not like we're trying to do that. It's actually showing people that this is how a tune begins. Yeah, we're not doing all these flashy videos to sort of suggest this is how, you know what I mean? We're just giving little glimpses into what we're doing, but it all takes so much time. So it's kind of no joke. You do have to have patience for it. And it's not even it's like we have to have the patience. Other people have to have the patience, because they have no idea what goes on behind the scenes. It is blood, sweat and tears. I mean, not blood, obviously, but it's a bit dramatic. But it's not, it's...
Oh, yeah, I mean...
Isn't it? It's like an actor who wants to get their lines perfect, or they can't be seen in a certain way. Music's kind of the same, but...
I think it's the songwriting's fairly easy. It's the production. I remember a guy out of Duff said that about their second album. He said the songwriting's pretty easy, it's the production. It's kind of like, we usually written the song at rehearsal or something anyway, and we got that, and I'll say I'll record it, then I'll start recording it. It's okay, but I'm not happy with the sound. I'm quite happy with the chords or the riffs or whatever, but it's the sound, so I need to truck around the sound, and then blah blah blah, and then panning it, and then does it need to double up? Does that sound right with that bit? Does it need an extra bit there? Does it sound too,
Yeah, as long as someone's feeling something from and actually feels something from what you've just played them, I mean, that's a good thing. I mean, that's why I play tracks to friends, and more often than not, they're like really surprised, or they say, I know they wouldn't, well, they might, but mostly they'll be honest and say.
I mean, I thought Cycles was perfect. That demo, that recording we did of Cycles.
But again, I suppose people don't want to hear songs sometimes that make them feel something. I don't know. It's like, why don't you make some happy music? Or like,
well, but it's just bollocks, isn't it? It's kind of like we don't make music for other people, do we?
Right.
We make music for kind of us, and if anybody else likes it, then that's great. We're not writing. You're not writing
formulaic, because we're not.
Yeah, exactly. We're not writing. Oh, we better write a happy pop tune because that's what people are like.
Going back to that question earlier, because I could have easily changed my life going into the house music world, because obviously that's where I was sort of veering towards, getting all that work, getting on the compilations and everything that followed. I knew if I took myself there, I could have probably just got a proper PA system and gone out there and done the clubs and stuff, right? So that would have been a completely different trajectory. But then as it goes, it will slow down anyway. And obviously I was meant to meet you and start doing this kind of stuff, which I actually prefer, because it comes from a different place. It's not like, I mean, I'd still like to make some happy house tunes, but do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. You're just kind of like... You're just broadening your horizons, because that's like me. I was completely just into indie stuff. When we first started that band in my late teens, early 20s, we were just playing indie covers, and then we started writing indie songs, which were blatantly indie, very simple indie. And then 10 years later, we reformed and we write better songs, but kind of more indie. And then I went on for about 5 years with a couple of different bands, and then I was at a loose end, and I don't know why, I just started writing more. I don't know how I got into it. It might have been, I remember a guy I listened to a lot of Doves, and he uses quite a lot of jazz chords. So I was learning their songs and learning these jazz chords. So that sounded really nice. And then I just fancied doing something different. Not a band, just a duo, and then an indie duo, a kind of jazzy chill out duo. I think I was getting into Goldfrapp and
Right.
and kind of 07.
And that's the interesting thing about how we've mulched it all together, haven't we? We've kind of like got all these different influences and what we've
Yeah,
come.
that's evolved, isn't it? Because when we first started, the first kind of year, I was just writing jazzy, chill out stuff, not in a formulaic stuff, but they were quite similar in their style. And then we just went a bit more. Then I think we were about 2011 when we got back into songwriting. And then we started having like really Magnolia, which is a bit more twangy, acousticy, country.
Yeah, it's still like
Um,
fear into the country,
yeah, and more kind of
with the sort of just more ambient and the soft vibe that obviously we bring.
yeah, just kind of like more just kind of all just more kind of standard songwriting,
But it's
which is
like we're so busy finishing everything to write more stuff now. The real challenge.
I think the challenge now is just to finish what we've got
Finish.
before we write any stuff. Otherwise, we'll have a load of unfinished stuff.
I know. So, what has a period of doing absolutely nothing creatively taught you? A period of doing nothing creatively taught you. Well, we've kind of covered some of that, haven't we?
Yeah, I think it just
Do you have to have that break sometimes? That's
yeah, and I think then you learn to miss it. You miss it. You maybe you don't recognize it first of all, but you kind of feel a bit empty or a bit agitated, and then you just go back to it. But it's good to have those breaks, I think, because it reinvigorates you.
yeah, for sure. It's like doing a track that's taking ages, and then you listen to it with a fresh pair of headphones, and it sounds
Yeah,
completely.
yeah,
But then
yeah,
you've got to constantly tweak things to sort of get it how you want it. So yeah, it's taught us a hell of a lot, I think, all of this.
yeah.
And obviously, because we've got the drummer now, again, different layers of sound. If we're going to get live drums into the tracks, that's going to be just mind blowing, isn't it? But that stuff takes a long time. Like we've just got the program stuff, and so people are just going to have to like that. Oh, are you happy with me sticking on? Anyway,
You could put it on as a demo idea.
well, exactly. Yeah. Right, question 17. When life knocks your confidence, do you start again without expecting yourself to immediately be the artist you were before? Before what? When life knocks your confidence, how do you start again without expecting yourself to immediately be the artist you were before? Were you before? Andy de la Fontaine?
Well, I suppose I can relate to that. I mean, there's been a couple of times in my life where there's one particular time actually, about 1989, all that, 37 years ago. There was this local band that I used to be in a band with them, and we knew them, and they were doing stuff, a band called Skin Trade, which is like a Duran Duran song title. They were quite good, if I remember rightly. They were a bit more, they're kind of like the first bunch of us to do a proper kind of professional, polished sounding band. Anyway, one day their guitarist couldn't make it. I knew the guitarist. Who's funny, the guy that's got my old guitar I was talking about. Yeah. He couldn't make rehearsal for some reason. They had a gig coming up and he couldn't make rehearsal. So they asked me to deputise for him, not knowing anything. Anyway, so I went along. They had quite a good rehearsal, and then they invited me to just play the gig as well with the other guy. And I had no idea about how two guitarists work at a gig. We were just playing identical stuff, which is stupid on my part. But anyway, I just came away from that thinking, I'm shit. I'm really bad. I'm no good at playing guitar. And I remember the next day, it was a rainy October autumn day, and I remember I went to High Wycombe at lunchtime from work, and I went to WH Smith's, and I was looking at I think, what can I do? And I'd look at, I even went as far as looking at these kind of art magazines to think, well, maybe I could be, start drawing or something like that. Maybe I'll be okay at that. I can't remember anything really bad happening. I think I just did the comparison thing between me and this guy. And I remember just thinking, just my confidence just went thinking, oh crap, you know.
Yeah, easily thought.
And that's happened a couple of times in the early years. And I think what's happened is I've just kind of like, which relates to some of the earlier question, I've just probably isolated myself, but isolated the guitar from me, so I'm not near it. It's almost like, well, if I'm near you, you remind me how bad I think I am at playing you, kind of thing. And then I think a few things happen. Like generally, I'll miss being creative, and I'll just pick it up. Think, oh, I'll just have a little tinkle. And then what usually happened in those days was I think it was a few months later, a couple of the guys in the friendship group said, let's form a band. And we did. And then that got me back into it. I thought, actually, I'm okay. That confidence thing, I really can't remember why my confidence was knocked, but I remember thinking literally, it's a bit like Eric Clapton when he saw Jimi Hendrix play for the first time. He basically said, "Oh, I better get a job as a bus driver then."
Well, that's the thing.
What he said. But I can't remember why I lost my confidence, but I did. And I remember thinking, literally, maybe I could become an artist, like a drawer or something like that, because I'm not going to be no good as a guitarist. But, yeah.
It's funny because I watched a clip with Johnny Cash and James Brown, and it was just this like really beautiful, interview. And well, I just didn't see the whole thing, but at the end, they were asking Johnny Cash about his song "Man in Black," and he said, "Well, what it's about and stuff." But I suppose I was just sat there in awe, thinking like, James Brown. What must Johnny Cash be thinking of James Brown? And vice versa, do you know what I mean? But they're completely two different artists, but just the fact that you know what I mean? It was so cool because he kept looking at him and it was like acknowledging him. So yeah, then maybe there's some sort of secret language thing, backstage joke or whatever. But when I look at artists like that, all our heroes, and it's just like, so what? People are going to be better than you all the time, but it's just what you bring to the table, isn't it? It's what you want to do.
It's that kind of self-belief, I think. We hadn't really at that point. I'd not really gigged, I don't think, properly. It wasn't until the following year, so it was only in my own head that I thought I was either great or rubbish. When other people, I say, started validating that, happy with me being in the band with them.
Do that. Why? It's like we're just all different. And that's that.
And I think as well at that time in '89, I was like 20, and I was just so desperate to. I hated my job at the time. I was so desperate to be a musician. Everything, even though I wasn't really doing much about it. And I think that's kind of impacted the kind of my headspace about it. It was like all or nothing, and it's kind of like, well, I'm going to be nothing, So yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, just remember, it was just crazy.
Well, I mean, it only takes someone to say, I would have thrown it in by now, mate. You're not really getting very far with all this, are you? And it often does come from other people's perspective. So that's the other thing, isn't it? We've talked about this a lot, but you know what I mean? It's literally going back to your own voice, not someone else's.
Yeah, it's that self-belief, isn't it? It's kind of like not let it knock you,
Yeah, definitely. When life knocks your confidence, how do you start again? We've done that one. Yeah. Do you think patience sometimes means accepting that this simply isn't your season to create? Patience.
Um.
Well, I mean, we've just had that all along, haven't we?
Yeah, I mean, there's times when I've kind of like, I've had periods where I'm trying to write songs and nothing's happening for weeks, and you just think, you get frustrated, but you just kind of like, it's just not. I've done it it's happened so much over the years. Kind of like I just know that it's just not the right time, you know, or to do stuff in a different, or it does teach you to do stuff in a different way. So I remember Radiohead when they had all that success with OK Computer, and Tom York got massive writer's block. So
yeah,
their engineer on the next album said, right, we're going to start off with everybody not playing their usual instrument, you know, just to give a total new perspective of how you approach the music. And that's kind of stayed with me a little bit. So
yeah, that's a good one.
You know, so
we should do that more often. I can't see me drink. What would you say to an artist listening right now who feels like life has taken them away from who they are? That's a big one.
What would you say?
What would you say?
What would you say?
I would say give yourself 5 minutes and work out what it is you want to do. Because if you really decide that that thing is not what you want to pursue, don't do it. 5 minutes probably isn't long enough, but I'd say, you know, if you really want to pursue something you love doing, you do it. I'm a very black and white person, I guess, because if you don't want to do that thing, you wouldn't chase it, right? However, there are times when you wish you would have pursued something, whether it's a sport or, do you know what I mean? I mean, I've got massive shoulders. I probably could have been a really good Olympic swimmer or something. You know, it's like, I would say to people, just focus on the thing you're good at. And it's taken me a long time to obviously work that out too, because obviously I dabble in a few things, but narrow it down, I say. Narrow it down.
Yeah.
Otherwise you've got too much going on. Yeah. But I mean, obviously music's been a mainstay for me anyway, in various guises. But, you know, I still enjoy doing different things, being multifaceted. What would you say then?
What was the question again?
What would you say to an artist listening right now who feels like life has taken them away from who they are?
Yeah, it's a tricky one. Well, it's that kind of like, first of all, you know, have you chosen life to take you away from it? You know, have you decided to focus on a career or a relationship or stuff? And are you happy with that decision? And if not, make another decision. But it's definitely a kind of like, when I was young, music was kind of all or nothing. But now, for a long while, it's kind of like, especially writing your own music, it's that kind of like, I'm just really happy writing a really good song, and anything else is kind of a bonus with it.
Yeah.
You know, it's that creativity, it's that kind of like buzz you get out of it. You know, if I go back to what we said earlier, you know, if I've got a track, if I'm a bit down or whatever, and I've got a track I've got on my iPhone that I've done recently that I really like, and I put it on, it's like, actually, yeah, it kind of gives me a lift. Actually, yeah, you are capable of stuff. So it depends, you know, it depends on whether you kind of, I mean, when you're younger, you know, it's the obvious thing is to think, well, I want to do music for a living and tour the world and make loads of money and release albums and stuff like that. And then as you get older, you kind of like, the sensibility is creeping a bit, thinking, well, actually, it's kind of like, maybe that's not going to happen. But it doesn't mean you know, if you're a proper musician, you don't kind of think, well, it's not going to happen, I'm going to give up playing music. You know,
No.
you just kind of like, don't know if compromise is the right word, but you kind of adapt, because you have other things in life you want to do. You know, you fall in love or whatever, and it's kind of like adapting all your passions with the other new passions that come into your life. But so then you kind of appreciate it, probably music a bit better, in it kind of like, oh, I really appreciate playing that band rehearsal tonight, and I really appreciate recording that new song, and I really appreciate, you know, being able to play a gig, just creating, you know, just really appreciate. It just depends where your headspace is, where you know, what your ambition is with it. It's that kind of like, if you're kind of going to get in a kind of like, you know, I've known a couple of people my age just got a massive chip on their shoulder because they've never made it big, and it's just kind of like, just you talk to them and they're kind of just real kind of like resentful, and you sort of say to them about it, and then they just say, "Oh, no, I'm not like that at all." When they obviously are. I'd hate to be like that. It's that kind of like, 'cause that takes the happiness away from it,
Yeah.
and you're just left with resentment, and it's kind of like,
Well, I suppose it's part of that sort of jealousy thing as well, isn't it? When you're
yeah, and it's that kind of, and you kind of like look at work, and it's kind of, okay, I've got to work to be able to do things, like one of the many things that it gives me is to be able to play music and
yeah,
afford iPads I can record onto GarageBand, or afford guitars, or even afford to do a band practice.
but I just feel like don't give up. Then if you do, again, it goes back to what are you
Yeah,
passionate?
and I think if you
Don't
if
give up.
you if
If
you
you
really want to do it, if it's really part of you, you won't give up.
yeah,
You'll just adapt the way you do it. You adapt. You
yeah,
know, you adapt to a degree where what you do satisfies you at that time, and you might want to ramp it up some points, or you might want to dial it down some points.
mm,
But you're always going to want to do it. It's the kind of the need of having to do it at some
urge to do it. Yeah,
satisfying degree, because it's proper, it's soul food. It's soul, isn't it?
yeah. Well, I guess this is why DJs do what they do, and continually they have to have music in their lives, or people. But I suppose, yeah, people don't really think about how that's generating on the other side. You know what I mean? And how much effort it might actually take to keep doing that thing that you're
Yeah,
giving.
yeah.
So, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, there's been times when I've been writing stuff, and it's kind of like I just haven't got time for whatever reason. But then I'll get to a point where I've written a really nice verse, and I'm thinking I'm really happy with that. So I'm happy now. I'd love to do more, but I'm quite happy to just park that for a week while I get all this other shit in my life sorted out, and then I can come back to it and then carry on. But I'm quite happy that I've started creating something.
yeah, exactly. No, I just feel really blessed that we can even do it. Period.
Yeah,
Because
yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah. We're really, really lucky.
gift.
I know people that are workaholics, and they got nothing outside of work. And I've had people sort of say to me, "Oh, I wish I could play guitar like you." And it's like, well, what do you want to do? If you want to play guitar, you would have probably started playing guitar by now. But what's that? What's the passion? What are you drawn to outside of work? What do you want to do? And they might sort of say, "Well, I really wanted to, you know, grow vegetables or something." It's like, great, get an allotment, just do it.
Yeah, yeah.
It's the people that kind of work really well, earn loads of money, but then sort of they've got
Well,
nothing outside of it.
I mean, I can sort of attest to some of that because I definitely have felt. Obviously, I just had so many random business ideas and all these things to try and just not have a normal 9 to 5 and whatever. But it's that yearning to do something different, and then putting yourself off because you think, oh, it's never going to work, or just be realistic. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So sometimes you do have to be realistic, but yeah, I mean, like you say, it's adaptability, isn't it? So
yeah, yeah,
adapt
yeah.
whatever it is you want to do. If you want to do it,
You'll
get
find, yeah, you'll find a way of doing it in whatever form.
balcony now, right? Sorry. Yeah,
Or you'll find a way of doing it in whatever form, big or small.
yeah, but
But
even some.
that just means it's big or small at that time, especially if it's small. And then you might be freed up next year to and inspired to do it in a bigger kind of way.
Yeah, I'm definitely all about self grow and stuff. I'd love to have my own little garden patch and grow my herbs and veg and stuff, but it all takes a few seeds, and then
Yeah,
maintenance, watering, and everything else. But it's like you can do it if you really want to do it. You'll do it.
yeah,
You
exactly.
one pot at a time. Right. So, what would you say to an artist listening? Well, I know we've done that. We're actually at number 20.
Last question.
Finish this sentence.
Okay.
I'm not creating. I'm still ...
So was it when I'm not creating, I'm still
Even when I'm not creating, I'm still.
interesting. Um,
What are you doing?
Well, I suppose kind of at this moment in time, I'm looking at 3 guitar cases on my sofa. So these things kind of remind me of guitars. So even when I'm not creating, I have things like that reminding me about creativity, if you know what I mean. And when I'm not creating, I'm usually, well, not usually. When I'm not creating, I like to try and do something else that nourishes my soul, like cycling or whatever. I've even got back into the routine of reading when I go to bed, stuff like that, stuff that nourishes your soul. So when I'm not creating, I'm trying to maybe still do something soul nourishing. You know, don't know if that answers the question properly.
Yeah, you're still doing something soul nourishing because it's bringing you joy, even when you're not creating.
Yeah, exactly. And just the pure fact that you're nourishing your soul will mean you'll probably be creating soon.
Yeah.
You think, oh, I come back in, I feel great. I'm going to pick up that guitar and just play along to something, and then before you know it, it's 4 hours later, and you're tinkering around with something that might or might not be okay, but it doesn't matter.
That's why I have to draw inspiration from mostly everything for songwriting, because I literally I'll get inspired by anything and everything around me. And I think it's it's like a download, for want of a better word. It is like an instant download. And then I'll be like, oh, I'll just jot those few words down. I'm always doing that. I don't really anymore, but obviously everything's on our phones now, isn't it? But it's like, yeah. But going back to the whole getting frustrated with things like technology, I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
getting things done on that Mac. I've got obviously the tablet, which I can't download a huge amount of software on there. So patience, just gotta be patient.
Yeah, I mean that's why I like my old Tascam. That I think I might donate to a charity shop actually, because I don't use it anymore. So I got the iPad. But that's why I like the Tascam, because it was
history.
It wasn't a computer. It was kind of like, it was a 4-track. It's an 8-track. So you've got 8 tracks. It's digital, but it's not computerized. Okay, there is a basic way you can copy and paste stuff, but it's very, very. It's not visual. You have to like really just muck around with it. So it's very kind of organic. It's that kind of like, so if you're playing a song with 3 verses, unless you want to arse around with a manual and work out really how to like copy and paste, which is pretty difficult, you have to play those 3 verses separately. So you don't just play one verse, think, oh, that's great, that sounds great, I'll just copy that into the other 2 verses. And then you're literally confined to 8 tracks. And so you kind of limited, but that makes you more creative. I heard Beck actually recently do an interview. He was talking about how he made, his breakthrough song "Loser" in 1994, and he said it was on an 8-track, and they had they had way too much for 8 tracks, so they had to kind of like just sample stuff onto the keyboard so it was all together and blah blah blah, and it was a way of and it probably sounded better because it made it lo-fi. That's what I like about the Tascam. Was kind of like you had to properly kind of think about what you were doing, and a proper performance thing, instead of just copying a riff and then recording a riff and then copying it all over the place. You couldn't do that. You had to physically play it wherever you wanted it.
Did you do Chameleon on that then?
No, Chameleon's on the iPad.
Oh, right.
A lot of copying and pasting on that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of copying and pasting on that. Yeah. As soon as I got a good verse, I copy and pasted that. And
have you got much more memory on there then?
On the iPad? Oh yeah. I purposely bought one.
These tunes.
What?
You can download Logic and crack on.
In the Logic you have to subscribe to now. You can't just buy it. But
yeah, I have the
GarageBand works fine. Again, I could I've got a couple of plugins, necessary ones like amps and things. I could buy loads of different plugins, but it's when I had Logic before, it's kind of like I didn't really use. I used about probably 10% of it. You know, I'm not a computer programmer.
No, but again, it's just evolving, isn't it? Because this.
So I like, but now at the moment with the iPad, 'cause I've got this really good reverb plugin. Just mucking around with reverbs. I mean, I've got reverbs that make guitar sound like you don't realize it at the time, but when you put it into songs, it sounds like a synth. Purely because of the reverb and stuff like that.
So fiddling around with sounds for hours and hours because we have the space on the G4 or whatever. Now it's just kind of like, oh my god, I'm just scared about system overloads and.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of like the one of the not negative effects, but kind of overload effects with the iPad, and that is kind of you can just do so much. So you're out there for hours. You can record guitars and stuff onto it, and then you've got the built-in synth stuff, so you can muck around with that, and then it's kind of like. And then you get into the problem where you spend hours doing it, and then you realise actually you've been there for 4 hours, and most of the last 3 hours is pretty crap. Delete. I suppose that's part of creating, but maybe you're just giving too much rope.
Yeah, keep it simple, I say.
Yeah.
And helpful to people, and if people who have their say, please do reach out as well. Obviously, we're a very small channel, still growing, doing one podcast a month at this rate. I don't know. Obviously, we've got guests coming as well, and we're doing these ones head to head together. So don't think we'll stop. It's quite nice, isn't it? Just to kind of intersperse it with having the guests.
Yeah.
It's them finding the time to
variety.
Yeah. Look out for the next guest in September.
Take me to the rodeo. Yeah.
Take me to the rodeo right now. So I've had enough.
Well, I'll be seeing you tomorrow night then.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Rehearsal.
The Red Room.
Yeah.
Stays in the Red Room.
Yeah, look forward to it. Might have aircon as well.
Hope so. Well, it was lovely chatting with you, love. Look after yourself.
Likewise, you have a good rest of your evening and sleep well.
Yeah, you too. And thanks to everyone out there for listening. Till next time.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Au revoir.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.